Are you a real estate investor looking to sharpen your skills or a newbie looking to become one? You're in the right place. Welcome to Where Should I Invest? Real Estate Investing in Canada with your host, Sarah Larby.
Suman, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing good. How are you, Sarah?
Good, good. I'm excited to have you on. We've met a few times at different networking events throughout, I guess, the months and the years, and you have a great story. And so
Mm.
let's start a little bit about you, like a 30,000 foot view of who it is that you are and what do you do?
Right. So first of all, thank you, Sarah, for having me in your privileged podcast. It's an honor to be here. And for me, I am a full-time IT consultant. I work for one of the top banks in Canada as my client. And also I started the real estate in 2021. So I came in 2019 on a work permit and then started on 2021 because I was waiting for my permanent residency. So initially started with single family and then now I acquired multifamily apartments in North America. So that is the 30,000 view about me.
Very cool. So can I ask, I mean, I don't need to know exactly what your portfolio has in
Yeah, yeah,
total, but is it a small portfolio? Is it many
yeah.
doors? Is it over? Because I think it's a fairly good size. I think.
Yes. So I have acquired like 130 plus units with my partner, and I have another significant partner, business partner of mine, Jason. And in last 3 years, 2 to 3 years, we have acquired 250 plus units in North America.
It's a
So
very fast growth.
yes, and it's all through the power of collaboration. I feel that um, what was happening is majority, like I came in this country as an immigrant. We are all trying to, you know, do the battles on our own. So what happened from there, I had that mindset of expansion and collaboration because I feel that I don't know anything. And that's how it started scaling up in bigger multifamilies with partners.
So that's quite interesting. So you came in 2019,
Yeah.
and you decided that you wanted to invest in real estate, and you scaled quite heavily, quite quickly. Did you do
Yeah.
this before back home? Can I ask where you're
No.
from? What your background is?
Yes. So I'm from India
Yeah.
originally, and before, like in 2015, I had one property.
Okay.
So my mindset that time was blind. I feel that uh, you buy real estate by closing your eyes and it will go in value. So I was a very naive. So to answer your question, I had no experience prior. So in 2020, 2021, I started investing. Like I believe in the power of investing uh, in myself, through the
Mm-hmm.
education and learning from people experience. Like for example, you have gone through such amazing real estate journey, right? I don't want to reinvent the wheel. What I'll try to do is, I'll invest in something that you have to offer because so that's how was able to scale. So how I differentiate is uh, through the mindset. That is the first piece which gets stuck. Like people are trying to save that 5,000, 10,000, $20,000, but somehow what I saw that this number doesn't scare me when it have to invest because I know the value that I can get immediate. So that helped me a lot.
My mindset is 95% of success, that 100% is real. Now,
Exactly.
so you came in 2019. Now, did you come with a bunch of money, like a bunch of cash, just
No,
investing, or you basically came in with just enough to
no,
buy?
just enough. So what happened was I was in States for 3 years.
Hmm.
So I had a little bit of stocks and everything that I had to liquidate and have. So that's the only which anyways I started in primary home, like, so as I was maturing, that was just the start. So always I had a misconception that I need to start with my own funds and save 20% and put it all in primary home.
Hmm.
So, but then I realized as I matured is you don't always have to, first think of primary. Like if you are an investor, think of it as an invest. Is it making sense as an investment or not? So I
Hmm.
did not have too much money because naturally I couldn't save a lot. But even if I would have had a lot, I'm sure if I didn't learn the multifamily investing or other ways of investing, I would have extinguished my money anyway
Mm-hmm.
because we all have limited money. So no experience and not much money to, you know, do this.
And I think it's important because I think, like somebody listening to this at home is like, "Oh, maybe he came with $1 million. Maybe he
Mhm.
came with," but it goes back to mindset. And I also will add that you came and you had to start building your credit. So you didn't
Yes.
necessarily have a long history of credit.
No, nothing. So, and my first two properties were single family because I was just entering into real estate, trying to
Right.
learn, right?
Mhm.
So I realized that when I was buying these, like your debt ratios start hitting, like because these asset in itself is not a pro investor asset. So I realized quickly that you need to look at the market. You need to look at the market rules, like is it tenant friendly, investor friendly? What are the commercial financing? All those things were. So I had to pivot because it's very hard to sustain. Like with my first property, I remember $60,000 amount was scary to me. Like now I'm raising millions of dollars because now I'm working with like-minded people. The mindset is expanding. And as I said, I'm investing heavily in building my network. Like
Mhm.
people like you who are established, like many people who are starting out, they just have that mindset of that I can save my money
Mhm.
and, buy a property, or oh, is there a free way of, through YouTube or books? YouTube
Mhm.
and books are good supplementary material, or it is good for information or getting an overview,
Mhm.
but you cannot replace the mistakes that someone established people have already made or the connections. So real estate is not just the knowledge, it's about your connections and how fast you are learning from other people's success and mistake. I think that's where people miss the point.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And you mentioned networking. Now, did you join a networking group? Did you just
Yeah.
go network with a ton of people? Did you hire a mentor, a coach? Like what was that factor that got you from your
Yeah.
first two single families to, 200 plus doors?
So yes, I did invest in mentors. So I
Mhm.
became a PR. I invested in mentorship, and not just one, but I think I'm part of 3 to 5 mentorships
Mm.
because like these are usually $10,000 prize, and
Mhm.
I'm not scared. Like I remember in May 2022 when we met in the multifamily conference, that time I invested in 2 programs which were each priced at 10,000 each. Like
Mm.
so, because I know that getting back those $10,000 is very easy, and I did not pay those upfront, but through credit card and all. Like, if you are serious in putting effort, like people think they will go into a coaching and then next day they are rich. No, you have to put in a lot of effort too. So I started. Yes, I started with understanding different mentorship programs out there, and then invested in multiple because one program may have their own pros and cons,
Mhm.
another will have their own. So I'm just trying to make sure, for example, in one of the mentorship I learned multifamily, which was more in depth, but other group was good for investors.
Mhm.
So blending one knowledge and then using it in terms of closing the property. So that's how I used multiple mentorship programs.
And it's good that you took action from them because sometimes people will buy them
Yes.
and do all the coaching and do all the learning, and then they just
Yes.
analyze the hell out of things and don't do anything, right? And then
Exactly.
they're in the same spot minus the money that they spent. Do
Exactly.
take action. And I like that you took different pieces and you made it yours from what you're learning.
Yes.
So
Right.
let's talk about what that looked like. So I'm guessing you had to go out and bring in joint venture partners, money partners. Like what did that look
Yes.
like for you to get from like 2 to 200? I think
Yeah.
that's the part that people are wondering.
Yes. So you are right. So what I did initially, so I've done 3 types of, like I see buying properties in 4 different major categories. One is buying on your own. So I did those strategies too.
Mhm.
Like initially I got these primary homes. Then I have one 8 unit property where seller was financing, and then other was through private lending.
And these are
So
located where? In Canada, in the US?
yes, so I have a couple of properties in Ontario,
Mhm.
a few properties in Alberta, New Brunswick, and Newfoundland. So these are the provinces in Canada that I'm part of. And then majority of the bigger commercial multifamilies are in Ohio. So
Mm.
I have a managing partner in the US because having a US citizen who has a strong network and the qualification is easier. So I have portfolio there, um, a few of them in India, and then we recently have also acquired property in Mexico as well. So majority of those bigger multifamilies are in Ohio, and in Newfoundland we have like 8 unit building, and in Alberta like 24. So that's how it's distributed. So I see buying buildings in four different ways. Like one is buying on your own. So that thing I did. Then I also did some joint ventures where, I have IT background. So some of the friends, we grouped and bought some property. And then I focus more on people who are inside the community because they have the right mindset. Like spending $10,000, $15,000 in a program needs a different kind of mindset. So now what I've done, I've focused more on partnership, mostly inside. So I did joint ventures and then also did some kind of syndication for buying the bigger apartment in terms of the general partner, limited partner. So these are the three different ways I have done. And the next vision is to learn and understand how the funds and everything are set up so that we can acquire bigger multifamily and scale much faster.
I mean, it's all very interesting and congratulations on the success and really, if you think about it, 2 years, right? 2 years of
Yeah.
really scaling.
Yeah.
What has been some of the challenges that you would say that you weren't really ready for that have happened? Because I'm sure with 200 units, the more units you have,
Yeah.
the more problems you have.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe share some of that if you don't mind.
Yes, 100%. So I would start from, I will go to the joint venture as well. But first challenge, I will start from the property which I started in Ontario. So what happened is I was still evolving my mindset as an investor. So the first problem is don't look at the neighborhood and buy immediate. Like I never thought of the importance of having investor focused power team. Like I just, whatever default I got, the realtor, mortgage broker, I just gone through the flow. Okay. And I was like, I need to get the single family without realizing the asset class. So that was the first challenge or hurdle I had. Like, because exit from these is only dependent on market appreciation. And, it is not in our control. So that was the first challenge I faced. The second challenge I had was in the joint venture when you are partnering, you need to understand that are your partners also having the same mindset as an investor? Like, do they understand investing or are they thinking in that way? So, mostly initial partnership was more like a default, like, okay, you were interested, I'm interested, let's buy that. So, that was the second challenge that I had. Now, in the multifamily side, as I did out of province investing, um, what challenges I faced was about not knowing how the province works in general or the people. Like as you go in this bigger multifamily, the process sometimes becomes very slow and cumbersome. So it's very frustrating. Like right now, we are going at a property where you're not getting answers from lawyers, the seller is not responding. So these are the common challenges you will face. And the final biggest challenge that we have is in the renovation sometimes, the budget goes crazy. So now we are tying up with multifamily renovation experts who have the understanding, who knows how to keep the budget in control. So that is another challenge which we had. So we had to fire those property manager and the contractors as well.
Yeah. There's always delays and over budget on most renovations anyways.
Yeah,
I should say most big renovations along the way. Where does most
right.
of your funding come from? Is
Yeah.
it like a handful of the same people that keep funding projects? And if so, how did you find them?
Yes. So majority comes with mostly the friend circuit and accredited investors who are mostly inside some form of the real estate community. So I leverage social media not to publish my deals, but to add value and get a familiarity. Like, you have to build a personal brand. So in last 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I used to talk like crazy with all kinds of people and not to be like taking something from them, but just to add value or appreciating what you do. So keep a tab of all the people. So majority of my investors have come from the friend circle, real estate community, understanding what are their goals and what are they looking for, and also the accredited investors as well. So these are the main kind of investors right now. And also, I'm leveraging my IT folks. There are few people only from there. Majority is coming from the real estate community, known people, and accredited investors.
So mostly real estate investors. So how did you find in IT,
Yeah.
like that's great because they probably want to be passive, but how did you
Yeah.
find ones that wanted, I'm assuming you're the active partner in this.
Yes.
You're finding you're putting the deals together and putting the
Yeah.
pieces together. How do you find in a real estate networking environment the passive investors specifically, or the ones that you want, right? Because I think when you're
Yes.
partnering and you're bringing in investors, you're bringing in joint venture partners, you don't want to bring the same things to the table.
Yes. So few things that I ask people is, first thing is, what is your journey so far? Number one, because I need to know what kind of experience or background they have. The second thing is where they want to partner. Like some of the people are like pro Texas, like they want to partner with me, but because I am in Ohio, like we are working on our Texas project too, they're like, okay, we don't want to be in Ohio, but I want to be in Texas, because in their mind, Texas is the place. Some people, so checking what market they want to invest in and what is it that they are looking for. Like some people want to come in to understand the experience, or other people don't have the time. Like people are busy professionals where they don't want to learn, but they want, somewhere where the returns are best. So understanding what they are looking for helps us structure the deals and, present the deals to them. Like understanding their buy box, like we call it as an investor buy box. So what is their criteria? And that's how we identify them and we present the deal. And another tip I would give to your podcast audience is always have a right securities lawyer too. Like, when we are raising capital, there are a lot of rules and regulations we need to follow. So what we do is we're always consulting our lawyers and seeing what are the valid exemptions. Like one of them is accredited investor, 150,000 amount and all. Work with those kind of lawyers as well. Um, and that makes a deal more robust. And second is never pitch. Like I see a lot of people posting on social media giving X number of return and all those. Like I would say just, avoid those kind of things.
That's a sure way to get in trouble. Don't
Yes.
promise specific returns on
Yes.
social media.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
a
Like
red
that's
flag
some
for sure. Um,
right.
so that's interesting. Yeah. And obviously, the accredited investors, your friends and family, like you want to be able to bring in people without getting in trouble. So, the security
Yes.
lawyer, like you said, is a great option, especially if you're
Right.
raising a lot of money, for bigger
Right.
projects. Are
Exactly.
these, so you've talked about the syndication. I'm assuming this is in the US that you're doing as the bigger projects for the syndication.
Yes. Yes. Those as well, or where, like one of the project right now, we're working on a 47 unit in Newfoundland province. So those kind of places also, we are leveraging.
Okay.
But in the syndication, the challenge is it's 1:1 deal. Like you have the deal, then you have to present and all. So, and the capital required is anyways huge, right? So I'm seeing like syndication, while it is a good model, uh, needs, like there is a race to finish line because there is under contract. So now the goal is to understand how the funds and everything work. With that way, we will be in a position to scale and help the investors and us as well have a much better win-win combination.
Nice, nice. So you're still working full time, I believe, in IT, which you're getting
Yes,
some partners on that, which is great.
yes,
So I'm assuming you've got partners because you
yes,
are going to be working, 24/7, or more.
yes.
If not, so
Yeah.
what does your team look like today? Like, how did you have to build it up in order to maintain and manage and acquire? And what are some of the roles?
Yes. So I started on my own, then I met Jason. There is a managing partner, amazing guy, Thomas Lowry, also, great guy in the US side as well in the U. Uh, am I still audible?
Oh, sorry, I lost you.
Yeah,
You're
I
back.
think I got it.
So I'm gonna ask the same question, and then if podcast editors, you guys can then just edit this last part.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go from the question I was asking you about who else is on your team, and then we'll cut it, and then we'll continue with your answer. So go ahead.
Okay. So initially I started on my own, and then I have collaborated with business partner like Jason Yu, who helps me in the Canadian multifamily space a lot. We do deals together. And then Thomas Lorini in the US side, he's pretty good with the US multifamily. He specializes in that. So this is how we started doing bigger deals together. And then we now are forming teams in terms of having the acquisition and underwriting done by friend of ours as well. So, and naturally, we have our product manager, realtors, and everyone. So that's how I'm, scaling, because every place needs to have the right power team player.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say your role is as one of the partners?
For me, I'm mainly overseeing the overall transaction. That is my main role. Uh, So I don't now go directly in the acquisition underwriting a lot, but I'm mainly focusing on the capital raising aspect. That's my main pillar, and building the investor relations and everything.
Okay. All right. So that's hence the networking and consistently meeting investors, entrepreneurs, and all that good stuff.
Yes, that's correct.
Good, good. So what's next for you for
Y-
2024, 2025?
Yeah. So 2024 and 2025 mainly is to, continue to acquire the projects that we are doing. But at the same time now, we have infinite capital, like Jason and I co-founded, where we are helping other investors scale as well. So
Infinite capital is the name of the business, not that you have infinite amounts of capital, I'm assuming.
no,
Just an
exactly.
assumption. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. No, I don't have infinite capital, but assumption is, there is infinite capital out there. So let's go and grab that thing.
There's the mindset piece, right?
Yes, exactly. So that's the mindset, and all the people who are asking you, or those people who are watching your podcast, they're asking that I am just new or I don't have too much capital. They should, remind themselves that, I came in 2019 and started in 2021. So it's just the right mindset you need. You have to put tremendous efforts, and you need to learn from other people and invest in yourself. Like, don't be hung up for 5,000, 10,000, and, lose out of hundreds of thousands of opportunity, or make the costly mistakes which someone else has already done, right? So
Yeah. Learn
that's
learn from other people's mistakes and time in. And that's gonna just clearly, in your opinion, and you are also your experience
yes,
exponentially, get you to that next step. But I also think that you have the mindset and the fortitude and the grit to actually take action and move forward because there's also a lot of people that take courses and pay a lot of money
yes,
and then just sit there and then that
yes,
mindset gets in the way. Um,
exactly.
so that is also, what you I think bring to the table maybe that somebody else might not, right? As they do this
Yes,
they take these courses, but they
Yeah.
don't apply it. And
Right.
ultimately, I would say even if you have many, many doors, it still takes many, many years to really feel like
Yes.
become wealthy. Um,
Yes. You are right.
because
It
because
it
even with
takes
your
time.
200 doors and you have partners,
Yeah.
like I don't know if you're ready to quit your job yet, but I will tell you, especially with these high rates, it doesn't mean that you're like raking in dough left, right, and
Yes.
center. It takes time. You got to pay that stuff down. You've got to increase the income. You've got to decrease the expenses in your
Right.
200 plus doors. You're probably doing a lot of stabilization.
Yes,
And
you
you're
are
probably
right.
putting in a lot of your own cash calls, cash calls, cash calls. So I also want to
Yes.
hear the other side of it because
Yes.
you will do really, really well. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you are, but
Yes.
you're also like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you're rolling in dough, getting like
No.
thousands of dollars every single month in your pocket. This stuff
Exactly.
costs money and it takes time, even with 200 doors.
Yes, and absolutely. And I'm so happy you said this because I get calls from my, friends who are not in the US. They're like, oh, wow, you have so many money, you should quit. I said, no, it takes time.
Takes
Anything
time.
great, these are just the seeds for the future. So, and especially when the more you are in the managing role, we have to prioritize our investor. They come in first, right? So it takes time to stabilize the properties. It takes time for them to pay back. But yeah, this direction is right, but getting the reward takes time. And the best part is, I'm not even in a rush. So, but thanks for sharing this practical thing because
That's
people
fair.
feel that, oh, he's rolling with all this big money. No, it takes a lot of courage, stress. You have to take a lot of action. You have to prioritize your investors, like don't put them on stress. So,
And there's money to pay for the syndication, the legal, like
yes,
there's like, especially that size, like your syndication setup, a securities lawyer, like those are
yes,
cheap. Those are
it's
very
costly. Yes.
expensive.
It's expensive. And another question which I get is, oh, we are paying all the money. Why you are getting the share? Like, these are the kind of questions too. So that also helps us understand that this gentleman or gentlewoman needs to first get trained, like how hard it is, in the real estate. So that's how another way we judge our investors and, we want to partner with the right mindset people.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to make sure that you and your investors have the same time frame and length of wanting to stay in certain deals. And these, whether you have 400 or 200 or 10, believe
Yes.
it or not, that person from a cash flow standpoint may
Yeah.
be equal if that 200
Yes.
person door has a 10% share or a 50% share with 10
Exactly.
partners. It
Exactly.
really, you have to like really look under the hood. And just
Yes.
because someone has 200 doors and it's amazing that you
Yes.
do in such a short amount of
Right.
time, it takes
Right.
time to build that cash flow. And then it takes time to, pay
Yes.
off the investors or whatever that exit strategy is. And then, of course, there's going to be some wealth that comes to it and comes
Yes.
from it. But there's a lot of building in order to get there for sure.
Right. And that is the reason, like we tell people that main thing is what is the asset class or things that you are comfortable and what strategy. Like
Mhm.
people get hung up like finding out the right strategy or maybe, having that shiny object syndrome and trying
Mhm.
to learn it all. Like, for example, we are partnering with ST in the arbitrage side. We could have learned and do, but it will take me years to, perfect that field.
Mhm.
So I'm always about collaboration and with the right people who can help us scale. You want to get to the destination by learning from other people's expertise. So that's one message I want to give because people are like, they change their strategy so quickly. Like
Mm.
today they are doing this, another time they don't give that time because they're looking for very quick returns. So that is another thing that backfires.
There's no quick returns, and there's no quick returns in this type of environment right now. So,
Yes, yeah, we have to.
but there is for sure long-term returns, and they will do well as long as you can stay the course.
Yes, exactly. Staying the course and making sure we are prioritizing what needs to be done. It's not a, what is it, a shiny space to be in, but definitely it's a rewarding space. But you have to give it that time and dedication and go through the grind, what is needed to be an entrepreneur and investor.
Yeah, absolutely. Suman, it's been a pleasure having you on, and I really enjoy you also coming out to our events. So thank you for your support there.
Yes.
Where can my listeners reach out and find out more about you?
Yeah, they can definitely email infinitecapital@gmail.com, or they can just type my name on Facebook, Instagram, Suman Chakraborty, and they will, find me at least in the
Spell that
top
out
three.
if you don't mind, because it's not like
Yes,
you
I
have a
will.
name like Mike Smith.
Okay, perfect. Yes, you're right. So SumanChakraborty. So just search this in Facebook and Instagram. Hopefully, it will come in the top three result.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure having you on, and congrats. I mean, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of dedication, or like a lot of working on the mindset to do what you've done in scale while you're still working full time, which is awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So congratulations, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, sir. Great talking to you.
Thanks so much for listening to Where Should I Invest with your host, Sarah Larby. Make sure to listen in next time. We'll catch you on the next episode of Where Should I Invest.